Jazzie at the door. Artist talk. Artist talk. JAZZIE. JAZZIE at the door. Presents Artist talk. A live one-on-one conversation, 30 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors, to motivators, chefs, and even rappers, to up-and-comings with the it factor. It's the Jazzie K Award coming at ya. Jazzie at the door. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax, have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax, have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Jazzie at the door.
Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Jazzie After Dark, another special edition. I'm excited for my special guest tonight, producer, songwriter, SHAUN LABELLE. But before we get started on that, again, it's October. So as you know, October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So you can see, I got on my pink. I'm wearing my pink tonight. But you also need to, if you haven't, and thank you to all of those who's already got your KWARD radio mask. Thank you so much for your support with Breast Cancer Awareness Month right here. See that? You got your KWARD for breast cancer on the back. You got the breast cancer logo, and you have 2020. These are $20. So if you purchase these, of course, a proceed of that will go to breast cancer awareness. So I also have it in pink, you know, for the ladies, also for the brothers, for the fellas who wants that. So make sure you hit me up right here on Messenger on Facebook, or you can email me at info@kwardраdio.com, but also go to kwardradio.com and subscribe your email address, right? So these right here are 15, and the breast cancer awareness is 20. And for any donations you would like to send to the show, my Cash App and PayPal information is listed below. So let's get into the show, right? So my special guest tonight, again, songwriter, music, television, multi-platinum award-winning producer SHAUN LABELLE, right? So let's check out a little snippet of what you're in store for tonight. Wow. I mean, wow, that is simply amazing. Maybe I can talk to Sean. I'm sitting here in the lobby, so I'm waiting for Sean to kind of pull up here, but I think he's here now. So uh let's see. Let's talk to Sean LaBelle, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Artist Talk.
Jazzy, great to be here, man. Always.
Hey, my friend Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jazzy.
Hey, I was checking out that video, man, and you were just, I mean, you are simply the truth. And I think I made a comment about that. I was like, Sean LaBelle is simply the truth.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, my brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So where were you actually performing? You remember where you were performing at in that video?
Yeah, I do. Actually, we were at a really probably one of the finest venues in the country, which is called the Dakota Nightclub, which is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is sort of a dying breed of great venues that are left in the U.S. because, as you know, a lot of the jazz sites have been falling by the wayside. I mean, this is before COVID, unfortunately. There's probably 15, 20 like really great venues, and the Dakota is one of the really great venues. One of my close friends, Jeff Lorber, as you know, is one of my best friends. Loves it when we do the Dakota. He loves playing there because the sound system is right, the food is great, and it's just sort of got that San Francisco vibe where everybody kind of sits around you when you're on stage, and so it's really a very intimate, cool vibe.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, simply amazing. Sean, I know you've been in this music game and television game for quite some time. But now with the pandemic going on and things have just kind of come to a halt. So, I mean, how have you been doing since the pandemic?
I've been kind of looking at this as an opportunity, like my good friend Stokely, who Stokely Williams of Mint Condition, and now Stokely of his own solo project. We were just talking about this not even 2 weeks ago, and we're kind of enjoying the opportunity, quite honestly, to hide out and make our records. Because
Right.
when you're in the midst of touring and when you're in the midst of doing our everyday things that we're doing, you just don't have the time. So to be able to sit and really dive into songwriting and not worry about, hey, I got to go out and make the next paycheck, you're really getting into your music and being creative. And I sort of have used the time to finish the record because, quite honestly, you already alluded to the fact of my busy schedule being not only a songwriter, producer, artist, and television producer, but I run an ad agency that produces commercials all over the country. And so for me to be able to find that time to be able to just isolate myself, get in the studio, and write the best songs humanly possible and write hit records. I mean, because as you know, hit records don't grow on trees. You got to spend some time and really cultivate and really make these happen. So for both of us, it's been a really good time in that regard.
All right. That's great. But I know you have a hit on your hand. And we're going to talk about that hit a little later in the show. For all of us who's joining me tonight, songwriter, producer, multi-platinum award-winning Sean LaBelle is here. Again, thank you so much for everyone joining us. We're live here on Facebook, on KWARD Radio, Twitter, also Periscope, YouTube. Hey guys, thank you so much. So please like the video, start at your own watch parties, and share, because we're up close and personal with Sean, and I'm just so excited about that. So just to talk a little bit, Sean, about your career, I think your last album, Desert Nights, it's been a while. So like I ask people, like, Sean, I know you've been working, but where have you been?
Yeah, no, I've been doing quite a few. That's a great question. I've been doing quite a few interviews over the last week since the release of the new single. And people have been asking me that. And a lot of my close friends that know me know the relationship that I have with my father, Larry LaBelle, legendary television producer, of course, produced countless ad campaigns. His work from Land O'Lakes. I'm sure you bought the butter in the grocery store. That's his logo. Ham's Beer. He worked on Western Airlines. I mean, so many amazing national campaigns. He was also the producer of the Milton Berle Show, the famous comedian, Phyllis Stiller, iconic television. We lost him in 2010.
I know. So
when I lost my dad, you know this. When I lost my father, he was such an intricate part of my life. I mean, he was my best friend, not only my dad, but He was my mentor. He was someone that I learned from. And
Right.
when you lose someone that close to you, it knocks you out. And for
Yeah.
me, it was easier to produce television, but to continue to produce music, I found more difficult. So I had to take a little break for a minute. And by the time I got ready to get back into it, I lost another friend of mine, George Duke.
Oh,
And so
right.
that was like a double whammy, because George obviously was a big part of my career as well. You know, he introduced me to Everett Harp, who I've worked with for 30 plus years, and
Oh, wow.
and I love George, and George taught me so much. And when he went, that was another blow. But I actually, after he passed, I thought this is the time I want to get back in now and really start doing it. And the first song that I wrote, which is one that will be on the record, which features Stokely, is called "See You Again." And it's a really beautiful ballad that features Stokely. That's sort of, I guess you could say, a tribute to not only my father, but it's paying homage to George as well. And that sort of snowballed the process of getting back in and making the record. And here we are.
Oh, wow. You have my sincere condolences. And I remember that what happened with your father, and I know you come from such a musically inclined family with your father. Your mother was also a jazz singer.
That's right. My mother was a jazz singer. My brother Lance is also a fantastic jazz piano player. So it was a family affair.
It was
Yeah, absolutely. So we grew up in a really interesting musical city, obviously, back in Minneapolis, with Prince and Jamma Lewis and Stokely and the Peterson family and the Steele family. And there were, a lot of really amazing, talented people who, of course, I've worked with over the last 40 years. So I was sort of destined to be where I am in this business. And at an early age, I kind of knew where I was going to go. All my child aptitude tests in school just said one thing: music. Music and TV. Yeah.
I know you not just, it's great to call you a friend, but you are simply an amazing artist. It's kind of hard to put Shaun LaBelle in just a bracket because, again, you're multifaceted. You're just a talented man. And, reading about you, you self-taught yourself at the age of 9 to play the drums, right?
That's right. I actually started playing drums at 5, and I was actually gigging professionally at 9, doing some jobbing day casuals. So it was. I just jumped right in the fire, man.
I can see. When you name greats like Ray Charles, Paula Abdul, Prince. I mean, you've worked with some of these people.
Yeah. No, it's been really crazy, man. I got a great start early on with a really amazing vocalist who was signed to Warner Brothers named Sue Ann Carwell. And you know her because her background vocals are on literally every hit record, from Toni Braxton's Breathe Again to Celine Dion, Because You Love Me. She is the background voice on all these hits. But Prince discovered her at a very early age, and she got signed to Warner Brothers at like 17. And shortly after her signing, she started to put together her band. And she called my older brother Lance to be her keyboard player. And she didn't know who I was. I was 17 years old. And I walked in and she said, "Who's this?" And she said, "Oh, this is my little brother. He plays great drums." And she said, "Yeah, no. I heard about him. He plays bass too." And my older brother said, "Yeah, he does." She said, No. You're going to be my bass player." And she hadn't even heard me, but she just knew because my brother was funky. She just knew I was funky. So that was sort of how it started. So getting into her band was sort of my introduction to the black music scene, quite honestly. And after that, that's how I kind of got into being sort of the funky white boy who was being embraced by the black music community. I'm just keeping it real because that's the truth, because there aren't a lot of white guys that have been embraced by the black community, and I have been, and I'm very appreciative of that, for being accepted that way, because if you ain't funky, no one's accepting you, man. Just because you're a nice guy, you better bring the funk.
That is so true. But I could now this new song with Super. I mean, it is just, I was trying to find a way to really describe your new single. And by the way, Shaun's new single hit the airways across the country today.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the new project.
Yeah. Well, the song, interestingly enough, I wrote it on Supermoon night,
No.
which was a few months ago. And I came out of the studio and I looked up and I went, man, check this moon out. And I kind of thought, you know what? That's a cool title. I should probably roll with that. And that sort of became the title, not only of the single, of the album. And it just felt like a cool way to sort of introduce the album, because to me, the album was bigger than life. So Supermoon seemed to tell that whole story. So that's how that's how Supermoon, the title, came to fruition.
Okay, well, you know, Shaun, again, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show tonight to talk about the new single Supermoon that was released today. You guys who are watching it, go out and purchase it. You can go to SHAUNLABELLE.com. But we're going to premiere the video. If you haven't seen it, we're going to premiere the video tonight, right here on Artist Talk. So, ladies and gentlemen, songwriter, producer Shaun LABELLE, his new single out today, October the 5th, is simply titled Supermoon. So let's check that out. Whoa, Sean, that song, my brother, classic. That is simply that's a beautiful song.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, man.
That is a beautiful song. And I see the comments, people was like, whoa, I love it. You know, it sounds great. It sounds amazing. It's just, they love it, Sean.
Thanks, man. Well, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And also, again, for those who just joining the show, multi-platinum award-winning producer Sean LaBelle is my special guest tonight here on Artist Talk. And we're talking about his latest project, single rather, that was released today, Supermoon. You just saw the video. For those who go back and watch the replay, again, make sure you check out ShaunLabelle.com. And Sean, they can purchase it on all outlets.
That's right. You can go to all the usual suspects, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, CD Baby, any of your download sites that you like to patronize, it'll be there. And it's there right now, waiting for you. Go get it.
Hey, go get it. You heard it right here from Sean himself. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. So, again, Sean, is there anybody else that you know about the song Supermoon? Did you write it?
I did. I wrote it myself. And then as far as the guest features on it, the sax playing, which is amazing, is my old buddy Scott Mayer, who I toured the world with when I was in Jody Watley's band back in the late 80s. And Scott can be heard with Sergio Mendes today. He's Sergio Mendes' musical director. So he's on the road with Sergio when he's out. But he's also the horn player that you've heard with Earth, Wind & Fire on tour. You've heard him on Dancing with the Stars. You've heard him on the television show The Voice. Scott is a real monster and one of my really close best friends. The background singer, of course, is Sue Ann Carwell, who I already mentioned, who is, of course,
she's amazing.
The guitarist on it is Dave Berry, who's been Janet Jackson's guitar player for the last 35 years on Control, on all those great Janet records. It's Dave, and then of course Dave is also the guitarist for the television show The Voice as well. So you'll see him on The Voice on NBC. But the record, the album Supermoon, features. Can I go ahead and talk about the rest of the record?
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, I'm real excited about that. I've got some amazing guest features on this record. Quite honestly, you got to pinch me because there's so many major stars on here. Starting with Jeff Lorber is on the record.
Wow.
Mr. Everett Harp is on the record. Wow. Mr. Gerald Albright is on the record. Lindsey Webster is on the record. Stokely Williams is on the record. Marlon McClain, the guitar player from the Dazz Band, is on the record. And, of course, the group Pleasure, which everybody knows from the 80s, one of the best funk bands of all time. Michael O'Neill, the guitarist for George Benson, is on the record. Yeah. Mr. Ricky Peterson, keyboard player for David Sanborn, is on the record. Tom Saviano, musical director for everybody from Melissa Manchester on down, is on the record. I can literally go on and on and on with all these legends that are on the record.
I mean, you have some of everybody. I mean, when did you all have time to just get all these amazing people together?
Well, based on the calendar we talked about earlier, I've had 7 years.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess you've been working for. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah, and you know, to be able to get that kind of talent together, you know, it was a long, arduous process. It wasn't something I just started yesterday. Well, you know, being one of my close friends, people might as well know Jazzie is not only a DJ and a presenter and a promoter, but he's also one of my really close friends. Jazzie and I have a long relationship. It's not just here we are. I actually worked on music for one of your promos years ago. I mean, going back many, many years ago. So we have a very close relationship. So this interview takes on extra meaning for me because of our close personal relationship that we have. So I appreciate being here with you even more.
I do. I appreciate your friendship. You know, I could always call on you. It's like, hey, Sean, you know, I'm all over the place right now. I need some help. I need a little guidance. You say, Jazzie, Corey, what is it that you need? And you've always been that kind of guy.
Absolutely. We forged a close friendship early on. I can't say I'm friends with a lot of the DJs in the country because I'm really not. There's just a few that I have a very extra special relationship with. You, Jackie Anderson, of course, who you probably know from WJUV, and I have always had a really close relationship. There's certain markets where there's people that I'm really close. Pat Prescott, with the Wave in LA, I've always had a close relationship with. So there's people that in this business that you meet through what we do and being in broadcast and music and television, and sometimes you forge those personal relationships that are really cool, and you and I have that kind of relationship.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sean, so much. I really do. So, with the project coming, is it going to be out, the full project, is it going to be out next year?
Yeah, it'll be out in 2021 in January. Obviously now things are starting, going to start slowing down for the holidays. Obviously we got the holidays coming up and Christmas music, and you never want to release a record around this time because, as you know, people don't understand. Playlists start to shut down. People are starting to play Christmas music and they're starting to get into other things. So this is going to be an after the first of the year thing when we come out slamming, and I'm looking forward to having the rest of the album out so everybody can hear it and enjoy it. A lot of great features on this. I think I'm going to take people for a little bit of a U-turn because there's some funky tracks on this thing. This isn't all smooth jazz. I mean, there's some killer tunes. There's some slamming funk. I have one on here. Are you ready? I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here. Of course, everybody knows Roger and Zapp. Remember the group Roger and Zapp? More Bounce to the Ounce. I have a song featuring his son called Little Roger, a song called Bounce to This, which is a slam and party track. So this is some funk. FONK, some funk. You know what I'm saying?
I can't, Sean, I'm so excited about this project. And when you told me a while back, when you listed just a few of those artists, I was like, my mouth just like, these are top-notch people. Like, this album, hey, I know this is going to be a Grammy-nominated album.
I hope so. The thing to be able to get these kind of people all together, because as you know, on smooth jazz records, you always have maybe someone will have one or two little features. I mean, I literally have the top 10 performers in the format today on the record. Yeah,
exactly.
So it's so I feel very blessed. I mean, they're all very close personal friends of mine, and I'm really excited that they came on board and wanted to be a part of what I'm doing. And honestly, that's sort of been a testament of my career. I've always been able to work with some of the greatest people, and I've never taken any of that for granted. And I appreciate that. And I wake up every day pinching myself that I've had the career that I've had. It's been really, really amazing.
That is amazing. But Sean, I wanted, for those who are watching and joining us, tell us a little bit, if you have time, about your television commercial business that you also have.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, the legacy of my father needed to be carried on, and I started acting in TV commercials when I was literally 7, 8 years old. My father was using me in national campaigns for toy commercials. I'd come home from school and put on Flintstones, and there I am on television. I'd go to school the next day, and the kids would be like, "What? You were on television?" So obviously, I got my roots in music and television. So about 23 years ago, I launched my own agency, sort of taking after my father, where we produce television commercials for major companies. We produce spots for Subaru, John Deere. All kinds of national campaigns that are regional, local, not only in Minnesota, Southern California, but all around the country. And so, I have a pretty busy schedule with that as well. And honestly, it's all being creative for me. So to me, whether it's music, whether it's behind the camera, directing, doing voiceovers, you hear my voice on, countless commercials, as you know, including JAZZIE.
That's right.
I enjoy doing it all, and it's really fun to be able to do it all. And quite honestly, it almost kind of became somewhat imperative, because when downloading hit in 2000, you might remember when Napster came on the scene, it literally turned this music industry upside down. I was writing and producing records that back then that were selling millions of records. Okay. Not 3,000 copies like today. I mean, we were selling millions of records. I mean, I have songs that have sold, multi-platinum. No Mercy sold 5 million records. Sholam in the UK sold 5 million records. I have record sales over 20 million in 10 top 10 records. Back in
Right.
at that time, you could actually make a real living as a songwriter and producer. And now today, quite honestly, as a songwriter producer, it's really predicated on one, you need to get some licensing where you get songs into film and television, or you
Okay.
have to just get out and you got to perform and you got to play.
Right.
And so that's why for people today, a lot of the artists, I feel blessed that I have a television career in addition to music, because television hasn't really slowed down for me during the pandemic. But on the
Okay.
musical side, I'm watching a lot of my friends that they need to make their living getting out and performing. And by not being able to get out and perform right now is really detrimental. And that's why we
Yeah.
really need to find a vaccine, and we got to get this pandemic in order so that these people can get out and make a living, because nobody, these people can't pay their bills right now. So it's
Right.
you had the downloading and now you had the pandemic, and it's sort of a double whammy for anybody in the music industry.
Right. So, and I think that's something you brought up was very important, Sean. I wanted to ask you, and how do you think the internet has impacted like the industry? Has it given you a
Yeah,
yeah?
it's impacted it very poorly, to be honest with you. And
Okay.
I remember back in 2000 when it happened, and I was living in LA at the time, and my next door neighbor, whose older brother is a legend. You probably remember the song "She's a Maniac," Michael Cimbello, of course, from
Right.
Flashdance. Well, his little brother Danny and I, who sadly passed away several years ago, did a lot of writing for Pebbles, and had George Benson. He wrote "I Just Want to Hang Around You" for George Benson. Had a lot of big hits. I remember him telling me, he was my next door neighbor, and we were sitting outside at our pool at our condo development, and he said, "You realize the music business as we know it is over?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He brought me up to his unit, and he opened up his computer, and he pulled up this thing called Napster. And I didn't know what Napster was. And he
Right.
said, "You realize that this is going to kill us." And I didn't really understand the full extent of it until maybe a month or two later, when I saw that the budgets weren't rolling in like they were for production,
Right.
And then, of course, the whole thing sort of came to fruition, where the industry sort of fell on its head. Unfortunately, the record companies and everybody involved, they really didn't get it together. ASCAP, BMI, and they're still fighting to get it together now. I mean, if you
Oh
look at
wow.
the record royalties that are coming in for all of us as jazz musicians, it's pathetic. And I'm just going to keep it real, and just everybody needs to hear this. And
Right.
there still is not an accurate accounting and payment that is going out to all of us as writers and as artists. And one of these days, all of us have got to stick our necks out and say, enough is enough,
Right.
because they are still taking advantage of all of us. And, Prince
Okay.
was not far off when he wrote "Slave on His Cheek," if you remember correctly, back in the day. And
I
because he had
remember.
a point, because Warner Brothers and a lot of these companies were taking advantage of not only him, but taking advantage of all of us. So there needs to be a reckoning of getting this together, so that all of us as musicians and writers and producers can get paid what we really deserve. And I'm hoping that at some point it's going to come together. But right now, it still is not fair to everybody.
Okay. Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that, Sean. And just for, it may be a artist who's just starting out, that's just joining the show. What advice could you give someone that's just breaking out into this business? Any advice you want to share to give them, or wisdom?
I absolutely. And as you know, and this, Jazzy, being a close friend of mine, one of my mentors, I'm mentoring, is JD Spielman. He's the son of Rick Spielman, who was the general manager for the Minnesota Vikings. He happens to be a football star at TCU, who is probably going to be top 10 draft pick in the NFL next year, wide receiver, but he's also an aspiring artist. And I was brought on to mentor him and teach him the ropes for his internship at college this last summer. And he and I
Okay.
had a real heart-to-heart, because he loves music. And one of the things that I try to explain to him is, you always want to have a fallback position, especially if you aspire to be a recording artist, to be in this industry. Because right now, until they have this in check, being able to go out and make a real living is really almost impossible, unless you are one of the few, far and few between. And I'm speaking for the music community in general. A lot of artists will say that I'm correct. Unless you're out there on another level like Beyonce, where you're making, buku bucks, That's a whole
Right.
other, another way. Now, as a jazz musician, yeah, if you get into the clique and you start going out and performing, you can make a decent living. There's no question about it. But for young artists trying to break in, I always tell them it is a very small percentage of people that actually get to the level where I am and where others are, where you can actually make a living in this industry. And so that's why I always say, have a backup plan. Like I told him, he was thinking about leaving football. And I said, no, you're not leaving football. You need to stick with football. You can do music, but to want to have music as your main source of income is a risky proposition. So I say, give yourself another opportunity as well, so that you have multiple streams of income, so that you're not relying, just on music alone. Have another stream, and if you're lucky enough to be one of the few that actually breaks through, great. And if you're not, you have that other stream of income.
Oh, so hey, some great advice. Again, ladies and gentlemen, multi-platinum award-winning producer SHAUN LABELLE, and thank you so much, Shaun. But Shaun, before you go, I want to play another one of my favorite songs from your Desert Night CD, and I just want to play just about a minute or two for those who are just joining us. So we're going to check out another snippet of SHAUN LABELLE right here on Artist Talk. Hey, that was SHAUN LABELLE from his Desert Night CD. You can still go and order that CD, but hey, Shaun, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on Jazzy After Dark. I appreciate it, my friend.
Man, Jazzy, anything for you, man. It's always a pleasure to be with you and be a part of anything you're doing, man. And I'm always going to be there for you, my brother, whenever you need me. That's right.
I appreciate it so much. Again, don't forget, go to ShaunLabelle.com. The new single, Supermoon, it dropped today. And you can go to his website, all social media outlets, and download that Supermoon today. Again, SHAUN LABELLE, I love you, my brother.
Can I say something before we go?
Oh, sure.
I want to say we are so lucky to have you as part of our jazz community, and what you bring to the music industry, what you bring to radio. And we also need to congratulate you on King Ward Radio. I'm so proud of you, man. You got your own thing going on, man. That is such a beautiful thing. And nobody deserves that more than you do. We love you, Jazzy. You're a treasure to the music community. You're a treasure to radio. You're a treasure to all of us. And thank you for being who you are.
I appreciate that so much, Shaun. So I'm sure I'll be calling you. Hey, Shaun, I need your help with this. I need this on the website. Can you help me?
Absolutely. And I look forward to hearing Supermoon on your radio station in Alabama next week, correct?
Yeah, it will be there.
That's right. Well, I appreciate that, man. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, my brother. I love you. And don't forget, hey, come back on Jazzy After Dark. So we can talk about, more music, more great things coming from SHAUN LABELLE.
Absolutely. God bless y'all. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Shaun. Wow, what an amazing up close and personal conversation with my friend, multi-platinum producer, songwriter, SHAUN LABELLE. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight on the show. And for those who go back and watch the replay, and for those who are with me now, please order, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the pandemic is still here, y'all. You need those masks. And I know you're saying, I have 10, 15 masks. I have those myself, but you don't have a KWARD radio mask, A proceed of purchasing these are $20 for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It also comes with the washable filter on the inside, and also on the back, you have the logo here, and you have 2020. Just message me you can go email me at info@kwardраdio.com. I have it, for the fellas in this color, right? And also for you ladies that like pink, probably can't see that. And I still have my KWARD radio mask. These are 15, and the masks here, these are 20. My Cash App information is there. My PayPal information is also listed below. Again, thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Jazzy After Dark. But hey, hang out with me again on Friday for Featured Friday. I'm so excited for my special guest, saxophonist Marlon is going to be here. And also Macy Miller, also jazz singer, is also going to be on the show on Feature Friday. But again, thank you guys so much. I hope you have a blessed rest of the week. Remember, make sure you take care of yourself and be kind to others. Good night.
Artist talk. Jazzy After Dark. Artist talk. Artist talk. Jazzy K. Jazzy After Dark presents Artist Talk. A live one-on-one conversation. 30 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors to motivators, chefs, and even rappers to up-and-comings with the it factor. It's the Jazzy K War coming at ya.